Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, I am going to be going over some preparation for Necromancy, which is going to be coming out next Monday, August 7th. So I'm just going to talk about some things that I have done myself to prepare for Necromancy and go through the full list of things that you should try to at least get before Necromancy is released. There are some extremely useful items that you will definitely want to get before Necromancy is released. It's going to help you a ton to train the skill, and overall just preparing for the skill now allows you to spend your time working on Necromancy and enjoying the new skill, rather than spending time completing quests, training older skills, and just getting some different items that will be useful for your Necromancy journey. I will have timestamps in the description to each of the requirements or recommendations, and I hope you guys enjoy. One of the most useful items you can get for Necromancy training is the Enchanted Salve Amulet. You can get this by completing the Haunted Mine quest. That will give you the regular Salve Amulet, and then you can enchant it by completing the Lair of Tarn Razlor mini quest, which is pretty simple. And this will allow you to enchant the Salve Amulet, and it will give you plus 20% damage for all combat styles and plus 20% hit chance for all combat styles. This is going to be absolutely huge when training Necromancy. It is going to make undead creatures the best way to train Necromancy. It is also quite fitting with the skill that you are going to be fighting the undead, so this is definitely an item you really want to get. Also, just to further show you how important the Salve Amulet is going to be, it not only gives you that plus 20% damage, but the plus 20% hit chance or accuracy is going to be extremely important. Accuracy is going to be reworked with Necromancy. As shown in the recent news posts, your attacks are always going to land, but the accuracy will now show how much damage will get through to the target. So if you have 50% accuracy and you deal 1000 damage ability, you'll only deal 500 damage. So having increased accuracy is going to really help you with your damage output, and just overall will allow you to train the skill much faster. Ghost Hunter gear is going to be another helpful item to train Necromancy with. It isn't as important as the Salve Amulet, but it will be helpful. So it is a rare drop from ghost creatures, so it can be a bit difficult to obtain, but if you don't have any, you could start fighting a few different ghosts in hopes of getting a piece or two. Basically, the effects are, it has increased damage against ghosts, so you get plus 3% damage for one piece, 6% for two, and 10% for three pieces. There are 4 different pieces of the Ghost Hunter equipment. You have the body, the backpack, the legs, and the goggles. So, ideally you would want to use maybe the backpack and goggles, possibly like the legs. But just having a few of these pieces will help increase your damage against all of the ghost-type creatures, which also stacks with the Salve Amulet. So using these 2 items together will help, and I'm sure a lot of the best creatures, which I will actually discuss in another video in a few days, will be ghost or undead type creatures. The armor itself is actually pretty decent. It comes in 3 different tiers. So it is hybrid armor, and it will scale to level 20, level 50, and level 30 gear. So the armor bonus will increase based on your defense level. It doesn't have a style bonus, but that damage bonus against ghosts really makes up for it. The Slayer Helmet is another really useful item that you'll want to make sure that you have. The best Slayer Helmet you can have is the Corrupted Slayer Helmet, which gives you a 14.5% damage boost for all combat styles. Right now it's only for the 3, but you would have to assume that they are going to include Necromancy for this as well. So you can have various different tiers of Slayer helmets. If you do have the Mighty Slayer helmet, that is also pretty good. It gives a 14% damage boost when on your Slayer task. If you do have the Corrupted version, which does cost another 1,000 Slayer points, you will have that 14.5% damage boost. Now also, if you do want to be fully prepared, I would highly recommend picking up a Slayer task before Necromancy is released, preferably an Undead or a Ghost type task, something that has the Salve Amulet boost on it. That way you will be able to get the most damage boosts possible when training the very first few levels of the skill. Archaeology Relics will also be really helpful when training Necromancy. These are the 3 relics I use for combat-related skills. So first is Berserker's Fury, which increases my damage for all styles, depending on my life points. I also have Fury of the Small, which is my most recommended Archaeology Relic. It gives plus 1% adrenaline for basic abilities, so I highly recommend having that relic active. It's also pretty cheap. And then just to cap out my relic capacity, I just have Blessing of Het, which just allows me to heal a little bit extra. It probably won't be too helpful, but it just fills out the 100 slots. Another option is having the Inspire Genius relic, which will give you a 2% increase to combat skills, which should work with Necromancy. In terms of the skill and quest requirements, Jagex was quite transparent with what skills will be helpful, what quests will be helpful. So on screen now is just a list of the different requirements. If you do want to have access to literally everything Necromancy related on release, then the 3rd column there, ready for everything. That shows all of the requirements needed to be ready for everything Necromancy related once the skill releases. I'm sure there will be some different Necromancy quests that you will need to complete, but those are the requirements to start all of the quests and everything on day 1. So if you want to be the most prepared possible, then definitely try and complete all of those requirements. Again, I would put the Haunted Mine quest and the Lair of Tarn Razzler mini quest on there as well, because that Salve Amulet, you're really going to want it when training Necromancy. Now let's take a look at my Necromancy tab. So these are all different items that I bought in preparation for Necromancy. So the first thing I have there is the ectoplasmic residue, which just showed up in everyone's bank. It is going to be needed for Necromancy. You need level 20 to do something with it. So that is one thing for sure. And then you can just see my row of bones. So basically every type of bone is going to be used in Necromancy some point. Jagex was quite transparent about, showing a list of the different items that is going to be needed in Necromancy. Although the skill is yet to be released and, there still are some unknowns about the skill, I am pretty sure that you aren't going to need a whole lot of different bones. I would say having at least, a few hundred is fine, but at most maybe 1k of each bone should probably be enough. So you can see, I don't have too many of certain bones, but if I do need more when the skill comes out, I'll just go ahead and get some or buy some. Right now, the Urg bones, they're actually not even buying for 90k each, so I'm probably going to do some General Grador myself just to stock up on some more Urg bones. But you can also see that I have some Mystic Robe items here, so that is going to be used in Necromancy at some point. You probably only need 1 set, but I just stocked up on 5 just in case. Then I have my Spider Silk here, so that's another set of armor that is going to be needed at some point. Again, probably just need 1 set. Algarium Thread, it is going to be used in Necromancy. You might need more than 10, I'm not really sure, and I would assume that it's probably for the later levels of Necromancy, probably to make some armor related to the skill. So that is something I might need to buy more of later on. If you want to be a bit more prepared, then I'd probably buy 50 or 100. You can see the different wool from the sheep. That was on the list. I have some different gizmos here. I don't have, every gizmo I might want, but I do have a good starting point. I'll probably want to figure out what gizmos are best with Necromancy, and then I'll go from there. I do have lots of components ready to make some more gizmos. You can see I also have a Draconic Visage, so that is going to be used at some point. It is on the list. Again, not sure how many you will need, but I have one of them. I have the Igneous Stone, so it has been announced that you will be able to make a Necromancy Zuck Cape. So that's something I will be going for. Having the Igneous Stone right now just means I have to do Harakan just to get the Kiln Cape, and then I can use the Igneous Stone on that. Again, Robes of Subjugation, that is on the list. It's probably going to be used for some sort of armor upgrade. The Salve Amulet E, which I already talked about, it is going to be extremely helpful for training Necromancy. I think it will be the best in slot necklace for a while. I'm not sure what we'll see on release, but I think it is going to be extremely helpful, especially for those early levels. Then you can see I also have the Ghost Hunter equipment. So again, already touched on that. I'm not exactly sure how the Necromancy armor will be, but I think the Ghost Hunter equipment will probably be best for the earlier levels. It is also going to be useful to have some metal bars in your metal bank, so I do have quite a few of those just stocked up, and they are going to be used probably again for some Necromancy related armor. So it would be good to stock up on some different metal bars, probably some of each kind. Also on the list is a Spectral Spirit Shield. I don't personally have one, but that is on the list, so it's going to be used for Necromancy somehow. And then, of course, the Praisal Codex, so you can unlock the tier 99 curse for Necromancy, so that is also on the list. Aside from that, I am stocked up for just about everything. I didn't really go over it, but Ashes was on the list too, and I did have that in my bank. If you do want to stock up on overloads, that might be helpful because going forward after Necromancy, you will need the Necromancy potion to make overloads as well. So it will just require an extra potion to make. And so those are all of my tips to fully prepare for Necromancy. The most important thing I would do is at least have the Salve Amulet. After that, having the Slayer Helmet and an active Slayer task for when Necromancy is released. That is probably the second most important. Then just go ahead and buy some of the items on the Necromancy list and get some of those requirements done so you can just enjoy the skill once it is released on August 7th. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you found this preparation guide helpful, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.